All right there, everyone. The Trump campaign forces Jimmy Kimmel to retract his using a long disproven lie for cheap laughs on his show. That's what we'll be talking about on today's video. You know, you don't mess with the Trump. Even little Jimmy Kimmel's figured that out when he isn't playing with his toys, right? That's what the late, great Don Rickles used to say of Jimmy Kimmel. He likes to play with toys. Greetings, everyone. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You are going to like this one. Can I ask you, are you sick of late night comedy these days? I mean, this pathetically woke version of so-called comedy. Are you sick of that? Do you miss the days of Johnny Carson, right? What a class act, good old Johnny, right? Let us know about in the comments below. Tell us how fed up you are with this woke culture that's taken over late night, or if you're in a better mood, tell us what your favorite memory is of Johnny Carson, right? When late night was actually classy and genuinely funny. We're going to take a look at how the Trump campaign forced Jimmy Kimmel to admit that he lied to his audience for a pathetically cheap laugh at the expense of the so-called basket of deplorables, of course, by the way, of which I'm a very proud member. I'm glad Hillary Clinton sees me as a deplorable. We're going to look not only at how Kimmel was forced to eat crow, but we're also going to take a look at how far his ratings have collapsed over the last couple of years. I mean, it's nothing short of embarrassing. And if you stick it through all the way to the end of the video, we're going to find out precisely why all three late night hosts are seeing their ratings implode. It is going to make your day. But first, we are almost out of our cure for the swamp. That's right. We actually have found the cure, the guaranteed antidote to the creation of swamp creatures, right? Now, I can honestly say as a prof for over 20 years, the source of the swamp, the origin of swamp creatures is nothing less than our education system, our fake education that gets imposed on us and our kids every day. And so we put together this really awesome book bundle set that tries to inoculate your thinking from all the fake news that's pumped out 24/7 by our fake news media, who, of course, we're all indoctrinated through fake education. So you're going to get 7 of my best books on what a true education looks like for all of us. And I'm also throwing in absolutely free my newest book, The Coming Rise of Christian Education. That'll get you so excited about the number of trends that guarantee the rise of a new education system dedicated to nation culture, custom, and tradition. And you also get our really cool Turley Talks tumbler to put your coffee in. So we're almost out of this. And so what you want to do is you want to click on that link below and stick it to the swamp by supporting this channel with your own Renewing Your Classical Mind book bundle today. All right, everyone, Jimmy Kimmel was in the news again, but not for anything exceptional. Of course he wouldn't be. No, instead, the late night show host was actually forced to retract and apologize for lying to his audience. This past Monday night, Kimmel went on another one of his anti-Trump screeds, which is typical for him in late night television in general, which we'll get into in a moment. And what he did is he actually told his audience a blatant and fallacious lie about President Trump. Take a look.
Had killed the leader of ISIS, the world's most wanted terrorist. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is Baghdadi now, and they got him during a raid in Syria. Now, President Trump was reportedly golfing when they went in. The raid started at 3:30 p.m. According to his schedule, Trump was playing golf at his course in Northern Virginia Saturday until a little after 3. Didn't make it back to the White House until 4:18. But here's my bet on that. And I don't know, but there's no way the military told him what day this raid was happening, right? Because he immediately would have tweeted, "Guess what's going on?" I mean...
Now, the beauty of the Trump campaign is that they don't let left-wing liberals, who let's just say are not the best custodians of truth, the Trump campaign does not let left-wing liberals like Kimmel get away with this, okay? So the campaign fired off a tweet demanding that Kimmel retract what was a proven and blatant lie. Apparently, Kimmel was unaware that this lie was spread over the weekend by the White House photographer for former President Barack Obama. Right, Kimmel apparently got the misinformation from a Twitter post from the former White House photographer Peter Souza, who implied that the photo of Trump in the White House Situation Room during the raid had been staged for cheap publicity. But obviously, unbeknownst to Kimmel, Souza had to later publish a retraction of his own. And so the Trump campaign fired off a tweet taking Jimmy Kimmel to task. Campaign communications director Tim Murdahl wrote, trying for a cheap laugh, Jimmy Kimmel Live last night repeated the long disproven lie that the president was golfing during the al-Baghdadi raid, a Twitter lie pushed by Obama photographer Peter Souza. And this, of course, prompted a number of supportive responses on Twitter, such as this one. Jimmy should retract and correct his entire show. It's not even entertaining. None of the late night shows are anymore. It's sad. They used to give us a good laugh back when they were actually comical. They've turned into nothing more than political shit shows. No, thank you. Okay, or this one. He isn't a comedian, but a propagandist. Shame. Well done, Dumpling88, right? Whoever you are, that was very perceptive. Jimmy Kimmel is not fundamentally a comedian. He is fundamentally a left-wing activist disguised as a comedian. And he's not that funny. I can't remember ever laughing at anything he's ever said, except out of sheer mockery or embarrassment. So the good news is that Kimmel was in fact forced to retract what he said and apologize on Wednesday night's show that very few people watch. We'll get into that in a minute. But on Wednesday night's show, he nevertheless admitted that he was wrong, and he hereby officially retracted and corrected his statement. But then in typical Libby fashion, which media outlets, by the way, like Newsweek, the neo-Marxist propaganda machines like Newsweek, they celebrated and cheered Kimmel on as he went on to demand that Trump apologize for what Kimmel called a weird, detailed lie that President Trump supposedly said to Kimmel. And by the way, in logic, that's called a tu quoque. A tu quoque was, I'm wrong, but so are you. You did it too. You did the same thing. It's the language of children, right? Which is what Kimmel is. Thank you, Don Rickles. He's an obnoxious child who couldn't argue his way out of a paper bag, hence why he's a leftist liberal. And he went on to accuse Trump of telling thousands upon thousands of lies, which of course is mere hyperbole. But then again, what is truth to a leftist? Now, besides the fact that if I were Jimmy Kimmel, I wouldn't be holding my breath for President Trump's apology. I think Kimmel is the last person Trump is going to apologize to. But besides that, it's no secret that late night television ratings have been tanking over the last several years, right? Even CNN, the clown news network, has had to admit that. Even CNN has had to admit that nobody watches late night television anymore. They actually had an article that lamented the fact that even though the late night TV hosts are rightly roasting Donald Trump through this whole impeachment fiasco, or even though they're producing some really good material of supposed comedic value, nobody's watching. The simple fact of the matter, as the article makes clear, is that viewership for late night television has plummeted, particularly among the 18 to 49-year-old demographic that's so coveted by advertisers. So whether we're talking about Kimmel or Colbert or Jimmy Fallon of The Tonight Show, I know Jimmy Fallon is, he's the most bearable of the three, but for heaven's sake, how far The Tonight Show has fallen from the once late, great Johnny Carson. But let me give you a sense of just how bad things are for these late night clowns, okay? As for the opening of this season, 2019, Kimmel's viewership is down 16% from where it was last year, okay? 16%. It's even worse for Stephen Colbert, this disgustingly obnoxious left-wing loon. Colbert's viewership is down 30%. So you got Kimmel down 16, you got Colbert down 30. Fallon, he's dropped a disastrous 33% compared to last year in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic. And this year's ratings drop for all the late night shows is actually part of a pattern of falling ratings from the previous year. Every single one of the three late night shows experienced comparable declining viewership in 2018. Gang, it gets even worse. You ready for this? Right now, as I speak, late night viewership for ABC, NBC, and CBS combined is barely breaking 6 million viewers. Okay? I'll say that again. Late night viewership for ABC, CBS, and NBC combined is barely breaking 6 mil. It's more like 4 or 5 mil. Colbert gets about 2 million a night. Kimmel and Fallon, they break 1 million a night. Now, just to give you a sense of how far things have plummeted, right, for late night television, Jay Leno himself could score 6 million viewers in a single evening. No problem. No problem. And before Leno, the late, great Johnny Carson, right? Johnny Carson alone could score 9 million viewers on a single night. In fact, as I said, 20 million people watched his Tonight Show farewell. I was one of them. So things are so bad now that the total combination of all 3 late night shows, the total combination of viewership is basically what Jay Leno could get in a single night, right? Or Carson. But, no matter how bad they've plummeted in 2018, 2019, all signs suggest they're just going to continue to plummet. They may not even be getting 1 million viewers in a few years. And when all is done, when all is said and done, I knew I'd get that up. They only have themselves to blame. The dramatic drop in viewership is because of the radical partisanization. I'm not speaking today. Partisanization of all 3 networks. Johnny Carson used to be able to make fun of both parties, but in good fun, in tasteful and whimsical ways. Look at what they're doing now. They've all taken sides of one side of the political divide, right? The highly liberal, cosmopolitan, urbanite side. And so all 3 late night hosts now are all competing with each other in order to see how much of that single left-wing elitist liberal cosmopolitan demographic they can get. And it's just caused their shows to absolutely fall apart when it comes to the quality of their comedy and their cultural commentary. It's just banal and predictable and obnoxiously woke. So I, for one, am glad the Trump campaign fought back against Jimmy Kimmel in particular, and the really rather boring blasé routines that pass for comedy on his show. But regardless of whether he retracted it or not, his show's days are numbered. Kimmel is but the latest example of the old adage that never fails to come true. Get woke, go broke. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to click on that link below and get your own Renewing Your Classical Mind book bundle with a free book and a nice Turley Talks tumbler at a ridiculously discounted price. This is your antidote to the swamp. I'm going to get speech lessons, I promise. Your antidote to the swamp, and a wonderful way to support this channel and help us to continue to analyze current events in light of super awesome conservative trends so you can live in the present light of even better things to come.